Topping today's news, police investigating a number of shootings, including at least 2 murders in the past 24 hours. Prime Minister Davis says there is no need for increased COVID measures at this time, and popular pastor T.G. Morrison is warning the government to address the illegal migrant issues before it's too late. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it is a pleasure to have you join us. Following the shooting death of a young female on Lily of the Valley corner today, Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings is expressing her utmost displeasure with the ongoing carnage in the country. She was speaking to reporters following the country's latest murder that took place moments earlier, where a female was shot dead and a 2-year-old male toddler left in critical condition.
It was shortly before 11 when ShotSpotter technology alerted officers to gunshots in the Lily of the Valley corner. Officers responded, information received. 3 females and a male toddler, age 2, were inside a gray small Japanese vehicle when a male emerged from nearby bushes and opened fire on the vehicle occupied by 3 females. The driver of the hit vehicle was able to continue along and came to the Kwaku Street Police Station, where emergency services personnel were notified. They responded. They took an adult female and the toddler child to hospital, where the adult female succumbed to her injuries, and the child is now in critical condition with gunshot injuries to the head.
Chief Superintendent Skippings also expressed her disgust with the mindset of those committing these heinous crimes.
Let me just say at the outset, I'm truly disgusted today, at this moment, with the behavior of persons involved in criminal activity. More so disgusted when the attacks being towards females who are caregivers, females who are responsible for ensuring that God's mandate to reproduce and fulfill continues on. Truly disgusted. And I think as a nation, and I've said it before, all hands must be on deck.
Chief Superintendent Skippings is calling out those who may be engaged in trafficking in illegal weapons. She said those involved in trafficking in firearms should know that the blood from the victims of these deadly incidents is also on your hands and your family members' hands who are living from the proceeds of trafficking in firearms. She warns those who traffic in firearms that the police is coming after you as well. Meanwhile, another shooting incident claimed the life of a 28-year-old male as police are actively investigating the shooting incident which happened in Montel Heights last night. Police say shortly before 9 p.m. on Wednesday at Bell Close near C.H. Reeves, the victim along with a female friend were leaving relatives of the female when the victim's vehicle experienced mechanical difficulties which resulted in them waiting inside the vehicle. As they waited, a male dressed in dark clothing and a ski mask approached the vehicle, opened the driver's side door and shot the victim multiple times before fleeing the area on foot, making good his escape. The victim was transported to the hospital by emergency medical services where he succumbed to his injuries, becoming the 9th murder victim of the year. During the incident, the female was unharmed and sought refuge in the home of a relative. Also from the crime beat, 2 females, ages 23 and 24 years old, are hospitalized following a shooting incident that occurred around 1:30 a.m. this morning on Rosedale Street off Wolf Road. Preliminary reports indicate that the females were inside a vehicle when a male known to them fired multiple gunshots into the vehicle, which resulted in both females being shot. The women were able to drive themselves to the Wolf Road police station before being transported to the hospital by emergency medical technicians, where they were both in stable condition. Police are investigating and are actively searching for the suspect responsible for these incidents. The opening of the 2024 legal year took place today at Christ Church Cathedral, with justice, magistrates, and members of the Bar Association coming together to mark the start of the new year. We caught up with Attorney General Ryan Pinder, who gives his views on amending the Bail Act as recommended by Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander, in the light of many individuals on bail for serious crimes becoming victims or reoffending.
No, the Bail Act doesn't need to be amended. There's adequate protections and adequate ability for the judiciary to deny bail in certain instances. Those have been verified, and decisions by the Court of Appeal have made that determination. So we just look for the denial of bail to occur in the situations that it is called for. That would be when the perpetrator or the alleged murderer is in danger for himself, or there's a risk of danger to the general public and good order. In those situations, you can deny bail. And so we look for the judiciary and the DPP to be more aggressive in those regards for the denial of bail.
Attorney General Pinder also highlighted the recent spike in violence against women and says they are formulating a Protection Against Violence Commission.
Well, I think more needs to be done in regards to protection against violence generally. Certainly women and children are included in that. We passed the Protection Against Violence bill last year. We're formulating the Protection Against Violence Commission, who's going to have the responsibility for providing additional ideas, additional implementations, and additional programs for the protection against violence generally, and then protection against violence specifically for women and children.
With the opening of the 2024 legal year, members of the Bahamas Bar Association acknowledge that there is work to be done with the judicial system, and they say that they are working towards those changes. This week, the Ministry of Health and Wellness informed the public of an increase in COVID-19 cases on New Providence and Grand Bahama, with some 36 cases reported in the last 6 weeks, including 26 new cases in December and a death on Grand Bahama. While speaking to the media following the Progressive Liberal Party's majority rule ceremony and wreath laying at their Farrington Road headquarters on Wednesday, Prime Minister Philip Davis was asked about the rising number of COVID cases and whether the government is considering implementing any restrictive measures.
First of all, there's no need at this time, according to all the science, to implement any new measures. Don't recalling now, measures are still in place. Like for example, in certain, we invited Bahamians to police themselves. That is the primary initiative we've taken. You police yourself. Keep yourself safe and keep your neighbors safe. That's the implementation. And so we recommend wearing masks, but it's not mandatory. An establishment, a restaurant, any establishment, they could enforce the mask mandate if they wish for their premises. But at the moment, there's no need for us to alarm. Recalling now, COVID has not gone anywhere. It's always been amongst us. It's been around. It hasn't gone anywhere. And that tells me that Bahamians have been very responsible looking after themselves. And I think they will remain responsible to look after themselves.
On Tuesday, January 9th, the Ministry of Health and Wellness issued a press release reminding the general public to continue COVID-19 prevention measures. To date, a total of 28,423 confirmed positive cases of COVID-19 have been recorded in the Bahamas, while confirmed COVID-19 related deaths are at 846, with an additional 12 deaths under investigation, according to the Ministry of Health. Although the government was informed ahead of time by Grand Bahama tech giant Pharmachem that after 20 years in business, they would cease operations effective tomorrow, Friday, January 12th, the realities of the closure still weighs heavy on the government's plans to revive the Grand Bahama economy. The closure is expected to result in nearly 150 jobs lost. While speaking to reporters at the PLP headquarters on Majority Rule Wednesday, Prime Minister Philip Davis was asked about the government's position when it comes to the announcement by Pharmachem.
Well, that is a blow to the Grand Bahama economy, and sadly we tried to intervene, but unfortunately the issue that involves that high-tech company is such that we are unable to bring any resolution to that challenge. We're hopeful that the employees that are being impacted by it, they'll be sorted out according to our laws, and hopefully we'll be able to try to retrain and find a place them elsewhere. My conversation with the hierarchy of Gilead, which is the key figure in all of this, is to see whether they could be redeployed elsewhere until there's a solution for the plant.
In the company's statement, Pharmachem revealed that unprecedented challenges have significantly impacted the company's ability to sustain operations. The company says all staff members will also be awarded respectable severance packages. Additionally, a statement released by the Ministry of Grand Bahama reassured Pharmachem's Bahamian employees that though the Department of Labor, or that through rather the Department of Labor, the government will work closely with them on potential reemployment opportunities, retraining, and counseling. And finally, in this segment, though the murder crisis in the country has taken center stage so far in 2024, the issue of immigration still lingers on the forefront of the minds of many Bahamians, and is also a sentiment shared by Pastor T.G. Morrison, as the issue of immigration was the focal point during his address at the Majority Rule Ecumenical Service at Mount Calvary Baptist Church on Wednesday. Pastor Morrison described the issue as a threat to our sovereignty.
One does not have to be a social scientist to see that our country is seething right now. And unless we have the will to arrest the problem, something cataclysmic is going to happen, and all of us will regret it in the years to come. May I challenge us? Where we live in a country where more than 70% of those who are a part of our educational enterprise are the children of illegal immigrants. We have a problem that needs to be addressed.
Though he acknowledged the need for foreign labor and humane treatment of illegal migrants, Pastor Morrison highlighted the cultural differences that are beginning to affect everyday Bahamian life.
But we are in an age where in a particular school in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, children of illegal immigrants lift up a particular flag and dare Bahamian students to pass that way because they declare that is their territory. This is what we are up against, and unless somebody is brave enough to say that something has to be done, we will regret what happens. For after all, we fought for the Bahamas, for Bahamians, and after 57 years, there ought to be a Bahamian people who are prepared to take charge and to decree and declare that while we celebrate what others have done and while we sympathize with the plight of others, we do not do so at our own peril.
Pastor Morrison firmly stated that a country can survive with economic and racial disparities. However, a country cannot survive with a cultural disparity, especially when there are so many glaring examples. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.